welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you saw my pack with me video, you know I just got back from a trip to New Orleans to visit some family. So while I was there, I wore a couple different outfits. I'll insert some pictures. Some of them were featured in my average girl size fashion tips, so I will link that below as well. I'm just gonna flash some pictures over here. It was a really great trip. I got to spend some time with family. There's some pictures of me at the casino because our hotel was right across the street. And I'm finally old enough to go to a casino. We stayed in the same hotel like a couple years ago. And I was like, oh, it's so pretty. I learned the quickest way to lose $20, so that was fun. But I won 20 and I ended up leaving with 15. So like, I only lost $5. It wasn't too bad. But it was still, I could see it going horribly wrong. Thankfully, I was there. I had a set amount of time. I only went in with $20 because pulling those little slot machines, you can see in these pictures that I was having a really good time. But yeah, overall, the trip was fantastic. I love seeing my family down there. The food is phenomenal. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of pictures of the food because I kept eating it before remembering to take a picture. So I'd be like halfway through my po' boy and be like, oh my gosh. And I don't think anybody wants to see a half-eaten po' boy. Just not as aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, the trip overall was fantastic. But before I went on my trip, I actually saw this video from BuzzFeed about a vintage store called Century Girl Vintage. It's a really beautiful store on Magazine Street in downtown New Orleans, or I guess that's Uptown. I think it's Uptown. See, I was born there, but I haven't lived there in a really long time. Hi, Taffy. This is my dog, Taffy. She's just gonna hang out. He actually cut out a good chunk of time for us to go to Century Girl. I ended up actually speaking to the owner too, Leah Blake. She was awesome. She was asking about my favorite fashion decades, and I'm usually pretty drawn to the 50s as I sit here in earth tones and round sunglasses, which are definitely more of like a 60s, I guess 70s vibe. But I like the silhouettes of the 50s because I think they work really well for my body shape. They, you know, draw attention to the fact that my waist is smaller and kind of take attention away from the wider hip area. But it was really cool. She said that her favorite was actually the 1940s, and they had some really beautiful pieces from that era as well as the 60s, 70s, and I think a few pieces from the 80s and maybe early 90s, maybe. Don't quote me on that. But the store was really pretty, and I couldn't stop talking about how beautiful it was. The second I walked in, I felt like I was in a beautiful girly dream. It was absolutely lovely. Leah was talking about how she wanted the store to be like a museum that you could shop in, and it really was that. Every piece of clothing had this cute little tag. I actually took the tag. I got a dress, which I'm gonna model for you guys in just a minute. I took the tag off my dress, and they all have these pretty little tags that say Century Girl Vintage with a beautiful like description of what the item is on the back. And this one says vintage 1950s bird print cotton day dress. And I saw size 6 to 8. I was a little bit worried because as they discussed in the BuzzFeed video, sometimes vintage clothing is pretty small because people were small and things don't have a lot of stretch. So when you try them on, it pretty much fits you or it doesn't. So I was really excited to find something that did work. I tried on a couple of different things. I'll insert a picture of the other dress that I tried on. Not on me because on me it wasn't working. It was a bit big in the, but it was really gorgeous. And I was so glad that Leah was so helpful. She was like basically helping me find things that she thought I would like based on the decades that I liked. And I ended up finding this beautiful day dress in the store, and I hadn't seen anything like it ever. I thought it was really gorgeous. And I can't even describe the feeling when I tried it on. I was just really excited, and it fit, like when I zipped it up, it just fit so perfectly. It felt like the dress was made for me. It made a really good point because she asked me if I'd ever, you know, if I wear vintage a lot, and I was like, no, I've never gone vintage shopping before. And she's like, well, you can either, you know, get some vintage style shoes and style it really like a 50s outfit, or you can get some more modern pieces and, you know, tie in vintage pieces into a modern wardrobe. And because I am someone who doesn't wear vintage all the time, that's a really cool thing because I feel like I can, you know, wear it on a more regular basis. The brand is Tony Todd, which apparently is a thing in the vintage community. I don't know anything about vintage clothing, so for me, I was like, okay, cool. I just wanted to try on a pretty dress, but it has this really pretty, it was in this cute little bag. I showed you guys the tag already. Everything in the store has a pretty little detailed tag that tells you like what it is, what it's from. And there are a couple pieces that were like inspired by other decades, and so they'd say like piece from the 80s inspired by the 50s or whatever, and like kind of talk about like the classic glam, or if it's a day dress, like mine said a cotton day dress. And then it came with this cute little postcard kind of thing in it with all of the Century Girl info on the back. But my dress, oh, I'm so obsessed. I love it. I haven't had a chance to wear it yet, but I'm excited to try it on for you guys. I'll show you in just a minute. It has these beautiful little rhinestone details. So the neckline is these little diamond shapes. And then they also have that on the sleeves with little rhinestones in between each one. And I just fell in love with this. The way the sleeves cut on the shoulders, it's very flattering. You can I don't know if you can really see the birds, but there's one, they're like kind of watercolor pastel birds. I just think they're adorable. All right, so I'm gonna go try this on. Hi guys, so I just put on my Century Girl dress. I styled the look with some simple pearl earrings, this little bourbon and bow ties necklace, my David Yurman ring that I got for graduation this year, and one of my grandmother's rings because I thought that it looked really good bringing together the vintage and kind of a more modern feel. So I have the dress on. I also have this woven Forever 21 purse.
Moon, river, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. Oh, dream maker, you heart breaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way.
Also, ever since I went into Century Girl, and because I don't live in Louisiana, I know I can't shop there all the time, even though I would move in tomorrow if I could. I've been all over Etsy because I asked Leah where she thought I could find some other pieces because I'm not in the area. She's like, well, there's a lot of vintage inspired websites, but if you're looking for real vintage, there's a lot of good sellers on Etsy. And I don't want to say this because I know my mom's gonna watch this because she's lovely and supportive. But I've actually already purchased another dress on Etsy that I'll probably feature in a future video. It was really, really reasonably priced, Mom, just so you know. But I've been all over Etsy seeing if there are dresses my size, and I'm hoping I have a similar experience and it comes in and it just fits perfectly. Who knows what will happen. I've been watching vintage YouTubers for a long time. I like Sweet Emmeline, I think, does some really cute videos about vintage shopping. Oh, That's So Ari, I just recently subscribed to her, and she wears a lot of 60s and 70s inspired outfits. I love her channel. I binged all of her videos the other day, so I'll link both of them below. But I've loved vintage style for a long time, and so to kind of dive into it myself, I was really excited. And I hope this can be a little piece of Positively Tailored in the future. I want Positively Tailored to kind of just be everything about me, so fashion and makeup and art. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, comment below if you want to see more material like this in the future, or if you have any places you do your vintage shopping, because I'd really like to check out some more. All right, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you guys have a great day.